Hi, welcome back to Tapping in with Cheryl. I want to share a message today from my great-grandmother, Wilhelmine. I didn't know her in the physical life because she had passed away many years before I was born. And probably 30 years ago, my grandmother shared a story with me about her, and she gave me this picture. It's a 4-generation picture, and Wilhelmine is the one standing up there. And the baby right here is my grandmother. So this is a 4-generation picture. But when my grandmother gave me this picture, which was probably 30 years ago, long time ago, she told me the story that Wilhelmine was a healer and that she worked in secret in the barn at night. And Wilhelmine has come to me many times over the years, and I've seen her a couple of times. And she told me also that she had been branded as a witch. And my grandmother didn't tell me that. Wilhelmine told me that. But I started poking around, like with my parents, my aunts and uncles, and just gently asking some questions. You know, what do you know about these women? And I really didn't come up with any answers that I didn't already know before, but nobody knew the story about Wilhelmine and that she was a healer. And that kind of surprised me that nobody else knew, which got me to thinking, my grandmother, I think, only told this story to me. And of course, that gets my wheels turning and going, why is it that she only shared that with me? And so I want to share this channeling from Wilhelmine with you and show you how things happen in a family lineage. Gifts run in a family lineage, and how the things that you do can affect your family lineage. So here we go. Excuse me. Living in a lineage of witches is not easy. And let me preface this by saying, in our culture, witch is considered a negative thing. The definition of witch is just a wise woman, a woman that knows how to tap in, work with the natural cycles of things. I don't see it as something negative. I don't really care. Some fought against our inheritance. Some embraced it. It's easier to embrace it because the die has been cast. Opening up to your powers and your gifts serves everyone. You don't need to be understood. That is only the human part of you that wants to fit in. You were not born to fit in, to be normal. You have found that so, and that's true. Your grandmother had her intuition and gifts she could have developed, but there was too much fear. The religion had poisoned her and made her fearful. Many in the line had gifts, but only few would venture out to develop those gifts. As you've learned, it takes practice and awareness. This does not make you special, but awake and tuned in to the universal cycles and rhythms. All of nature speaks to you, so listen. Tune into the subtle shifts and callings. It is not a bad thing to step aside for a while. You've been hit with a lot. Regain your balance. You will learn to fine-tune your gifts. You have a new perspective now. False notions have been revealed. Judging yourself does not help. Your illness is not a punishment, but a propellant. And I want to talk about that for just a second while we're here. In a lot of religious beliefs, not all, but in a lot, it's thought that if you run along hard times, or you have an illness or something, that you're being punished for it, or there's retribution for something. And even 35 years ago, when I first started dealing with autoimmune disease, even my own mother told me if I just get my life right with Jesus, I would be healed. Well, that's really not helpful when you're in the midst of a crisis. And but having dealt with this for so many years, it has pushed me much deeper. And yes, my human self would prefer not to have to deal with it, but it is a part of my life, and so I do deal with it. But it does push me into deeper places because it is a struggle. Okay. It pushes you deeper and made you question and review many things and many relationships. You feel like you are an island alone. You have just discerned more precisely, and made choices according for your best. It feels like an island, but it is refining, making room for like frequency matches to work with you down the road. So, there's been a tremendous amount of losses of relationships in my life, and it's not fun. But at the same time, those losses needed to happen to make space for what's coming in. You have heard many times, don't look back. There's nothing to regret. You've made hard choices that forced you beyond your human capacity into higher realms. That is nothing to apologize for. It is strength and victory. Moving beyond your limited human capacity is a victory. It expands into a place that supersedes the ordinary human. And like I said, when you have difficulties and trials, it pushes you. And that's a good thing, because as a human, we're pretty lazy and we don't like to go beyond our comfort zone. You pushed through the boundaries that limited you. Now others do not understand these choices because they are not even aware that they too could make this possible. They are trapped within the confines of small human thinking. They are not willing to reach for the divine or the divine in themselves. That is not your concern. And sometimes I forget, because I'm always been such a deep thinker, but sometimes I forget that most people are pretty satisfied with just their ordinary physical 3D life and don't really reach for more until they're pushed into having to reach for more. My child, you are looked after and guided. You are far from abandoned. We have waited for you to appear in this lineage. You may feel small and weak, but you have broken down barriers that none other have been willing to do. This changes the trajectory of this family lineage. You will not be recognized in this past lineage because you were born for the future. Your grandmother saw you. She saw possibilities in you. That is why she only shared my story with you. She was brave. It was scary for her to do that. She hoped you would run with that tidbit of information and seek more, and I did. She was bound by the old ways, but you are not. You are free to explore all gifts and to use them responsibly. You have the integrity to handle the power of these gifts. This opens a whole new door for future generations. The physical side of things has sidetracked you only for a bit. It serves its purpose. Soon you return to your gifts with new power and insight. Don't give up now. You've only just begun. And I have been sidetracked for a while and felt like, I know that I have certain gifts and that I want to use them again. But right now is a time of healing. It's a time of clearing away stuff that sidetracks me and really honing in some focus. The family drama has passed now. You have weathered that storm. They have no more hold on you. You are free. Cast spells in my name, and I will work alongside you. Call upon me, and I will lend my wisdom and experience to you. I don't know what she means by cast spells in her name. Maybe it just means call upon her for help, which I already do, but I don't really think of casting spells. You have seen how these gifts run in families. They are not to be taken lightly. Use your gifts with gratitude and responsibility. Your intentions are pure. You will not be persuaded otherwise. That is why you have been entrusted to carry this forward in this lineage. And I don't know of anybody else currently in my family lineage that practices any of these gifts. If they do, I'm sure not aware of it. It is okay to feel weary. Rest. Take your time. Only accomplish what feels right in that day. All else can wait. I had a lot to juggle with my many children, so I learned to focus on the priority of the day. I always kept my focus on the work. My children, some absorbed these gifts just by being around my work all the time. They grew and moved on. Many did not carry those gifts forward, but it did influence their lives. What you do matters, even in small ways. You don't know what nuggets will resonate and be carried on. This is how the generations are influenced and changed. It does matter. It really does matter how you grow, how you change, how you evolve, how you heal. It trickles down to your kids, to your grandkids, to your great-great-grandkids. I see that even with my own kids, some of the changes I've made, some of the things I've gone through. I think it's always funny when you hear your kids quoting you from when they were little. They heard you say things, and now they're quoting you and going, oh, I had no idea they really heard what I had to say. Well, they do. They're little sponges. Come forward with your best work and allow it to stand on its own. You will continue to evolve. Your wisdom will stand for those who will listen. That is not our, okay, let me try that again. You will continue to evolve. Your wisdom will stand for those who will listen. That is not our responsibility. Move forward with grace, fully tuned into spirit. No more is needed. You know, I think a lot of times when we're in the midst of our 3D life and we're doing the best we can, we don't realize how much effect we have on others as we do our own healing work, as we clear out old stuff. And I certainly don't think of how does this affect my grandkids, my great-grandkids. Some things I think we'll never know how much our work mattered in the generations to come. And I don't know that Wilhelmine fully understood that, you know, here 4 generations down, that it was going to really affect my life. So it just reminds me to be a little more mindful and to think a lot more long term. I'm not responsible for the choices in my children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, their healing work, but I can contribute to that trajectory that they will hopefully someday go down, you know, to do their own work. I hope this gave you a few tidbits to think about, you know, in the long term, and even thinking backwards to how did your grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents have an effect on you. So anyway, I hope you're having a great day. Bye.